Chapter 14, June 14th, 2033, Seattle, Washington, USA. First floor, Illini Building. Negative 47 degrees Fahrenheit, 1730 hours. We spent the next hour organizing our goods. The tables were soon filled and neatly ordered. Then we packed our hiking bags. After we all argued, the order was settled. All four of us would each take a tent. They added a fair bit of weight on their own, even considering their lightweight materials. It essentially assured we would each have our own tent. However, they were bulkier than most everything else. Larry took both of the makeshift showers. That added more weight than any of the rest of us would carry, but he was bigger and stronger than any of the rest of us. He also took most of the heavier hygiene stuff, including body washes and soap. Since they were inherently liquid or solid, they weighed a fair amount. He even attached a propane stove to his backpack before he was done. In the end, his pack weighed over 70 pounds. I remembered my pack in basic and advanced training afterward. I did not envy him. My bag was not much better. I had a tent on the bottom of my bag and knew it would be constantly slapping my ass. In addition, I had a few pots strapped to the side, as well as the bulk of the heaviest clothing. The clothing was shoved in until the zipper was straining at its seam. On the outside, I had a propane stove attached. I rattled with every step. Knowing that would not work, I stuffed each pot with towels of various sizes and wrapped them as well. My bag looked like a poorly wrapped mummy by the time I was done. I also took a dozen rolls of TP. My bag ended up over 60 pounds, according to the scale we weighed the bags on. Gino took the next pack, filled with all the rest of the necessities. He stocked his bag with frozen fruits and veggies, all the meat we could stuff in, and some canned stuff besides. His bag was about 50 pounds. I looked at him with sympathy. Still, he was 7 inches shorter than me. He would struggle far less to go up a single step, especially since he outweighed me with a ton of muscle. The last to be outfitted was Hillary. She took the luxury goods, books, board games, even some Legos that Gino guiltily slid in at the top. I thought he was right to grab something like that. Anything that could stave off boredom would be welcome. We each took 2 propane tanks as well. Every little bit would help with the community. Then every last pocket and gap was stuffed with medication of all kinds. Aspirin, heart medication, proper painkillers, sleep aids, vitamins. Everything was jammed in with the greatest economy we could manage. This climb was going to suck. Worse still, even though we had been at the base of the tower for close to 6 hours, nobody else had shown up. We were still feeling the loss of Tracy since she had evidently gone back to base. I took another look over the organized stacks. It would be easy for subsequent trips to grab what was needed without spending a lot of time in the store. My eyes stopped on the stacks of frozen water bottles. "Larry, think we could bring a pack of water?"
"No. Awkward and heavy. There's plenty up there for now. 24 extra bottles won't do much right now."
"I wish we could find a dolly or something that could climb stairs." Larry grunted in reply. I took an unbroken bottle of water and tucked it into an outside pocket of my jacket. I hoped the bottle would warm over time. I signaled the rest of the team and we got started. We grunted and lifted the packs. My breath steamed through the mask and drifted upward before dispersing. I wasn't the only one already breathing hard. The packs were designed to spread weight. It was wonderful because they didn't dig into the shoulders or lower back. However, each of us were carrying dozens of pounds of extra weight, and we had 70 floors to ascend. Still, we felt great. We had food, entertainment, cooking supplies, and tents. Privacy and comfort were going to be afforded to our group, even if in short measure. Sleeping as a community all crammed into one room, even a big one, was not enjoyable. The next trip would help immensely with additional supplies and tents. Everybody got situated. I checked Hillary's bag first.
"Fuck off, Dante. I got this."
"Yeah, you do. Probably should help Gino, though. Guy can't tie his own shoes." Hillary busted out laughing, replying with "yeah" through wheezed laughter. Gino gave us the stink eye. I still checked his bag, and of course he had 2 straps done wrong. I helped him out and he thanked me afterward. quietly because he couldn't have Hillary hearing. She winked at me as I adjusted Gino. I understood as well as she did. We left it alone.
Oh shit,
said Gino. I gave him a confused look.
We need towels for the showers.
He unbuckled and dropped his bag without a second look. Then he jogged off.
I've already got a bunch of towels,
I shouted after him.
Not enough. We have 40 people.
I shrugged and let him go. A few extra pounds at this point wouldn't matter much, and I knew he was right. Next up was Larry. He had the largest bag we could find since he was one of the tallest men I had ever met. He had it situated right and was ready to go. Gino returned a moment later with a massive stack of towels. He helped tie a few of each to our respective bags. I nodded at each of them in turn and led on. The door to the southeast stood about 150 feet away, and I started walking. In the silence of the store, I could hear them tromping after me. The door lay open, though the air beyond was significantly colder. Air pressure somehow kept the outside air from mixing too much with the air of the store. The difference was only about 10 degrees, but -10 versus 0 was a big difference to exposed skin. The 4 flights weren't bad. We were in the security cordon only a few minutes later. However, we were all huffing a bit by the time we ended up at the all-too-familiar metal detectors. I could hear the echo of Travis's voice now. I missed that crotchety old security guard for some reason.
Sir, what is this?
Nothing, Travis. Just the stuff we need to survive. I continued through the metal detector toward the stair doors. I looked back and saw each of the others have their own pause at the familiar arch. Then I threw the fire door open. The faint screech of metal in the cold air put my nerves on edge. I even heard a faint leather-on-paper sort of rasp. I brushed it off as ice crackling. Far above, I heard the faint slam of what could have been a door.
Hey guys, I think I just heard a door.
Really?
Said Hillary.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Larry shook his head.
I heard nothing, man.
I knew I had a confused look on my face. Then the headache set in again. I rubbed my temples.
Whatever, guys. Let's just get back. I need a damn nap.
They agreed. I started the first flight. It wasn't so bad. The 5th flight had my legs burning. By the 12th flight, I had to pause for a rest. It wasn't until I stopped that I realized the others had fallen behind. I called down to them.
Hey, you guys okay?
A moment later, yeah, drifted up. It was echoed and distorted to the point that I couldn't tell if it was Gino's tenor or Larry's bass that had shouted it up. I waited, catching my breath. About 5 minutes later, the 3 of them caught up.
We can't be separated like that, guys.
They nodded. I continued.
If we need a break, call one.
Once more, they nodded. I started up the next flight. My mouth felt dry. I pushed on. A short break was called at 20. I recalled seeing 30 pass by. I was in a trance by that point. I think the others were as well. It was like we transformed into machines. I forced us to stop, though. The breaks were getting longer and time spent climbing shorter. Our 4th break was at 40. We pushed on. At 50, I called a halt. My legs felt horrid, cramps all the way through. My mouth and throat felt like a desert from the cold air. I checked the water bottle in my outside pocket while we rested. It was still frozen solid. My nose had started running again from having to breathe so hard. Snot crusted the front of my face. It had crystallized in my face mask. The others appeared the same.
Water would be nice,
I gasped. I held up my frozen bottle for emphasis. The other 3 didn't bother to respond. After 10 minutes, we started again. All I could think about was water. We needed it, but we didn't have a way to drink what we'd brought. I pushed on. My legs burned. My shoulders burned. My hips, my knees, calves, back. It all burned. Everything hurt. We hit 60.
Almost there,
I grunted out. My head rang and everything hurt. I'm not even sure anybody responded. We didn't stop. If we did, I'm sure we would have never started again. I had a mantra going. I fucking hate stairs. Over and over and over again. Pain became all I could feel. It screamed from the peaks of mountains and the depths of the sea. It was all and everything. 70 loomed before me. I almost walked past it, so used to taking the next flight. Hillary stopped me with a hand to my shoulder. I reached out and pulled the door in. We trudged inside, weary from the climb. The final door loomed. I weakly pulled the door open and gaped. I only noticed one thing before I collapsed. The space had transformed in the 12 hours we had been gone. There was plastic in the way. I pawed at it as I sank to my knees. All I could comprehend was pain. My face, my mouth and nose, my throat, all the way to my stomach and lungs felt like they were all frozen in the worst desert in the world. I tried to say something, anything. All that came out was a horrid rasp. I kneeled forward, hands still outstretched. The carpet met my face, cold and unforgiving. Something rustled and warm air washed over me. I remembered nothing more.